Now I have total. This is where the data is, and this is where the bins are. So go to data analysis again. So this will be histogram. Input range will be column E. Basically, they are labeled, so you need to specify that. And the bin range in this case will be with label. Output, where do I want to put it? So in this case, might be safer to just put it in another worksheet, new worksheet. So this should be created. And then there are some option. So let's chart basically will perform histogram chart that we have seen before, but this one with fixed bin. Then specify the input, specify the bin range. Make sure check whether they are labeled. There is label in the first row or not. And then specify where you will put the result. In this case, I'll start with a new worksheet first. Chart output and make sure they are chart. Click OK. Histogram will occur. Yep. So the bin. I forgot to specify. So the bin here number would be the upper range. Basically, meaning here is so the meaning here is this will be basically 0, less than 40, less than or equal to 40. There are none, so frequency C is 0. So this is between basically 41 to 50. 41 to 50, 51 to 60. Basically, the upper point is this value. And everything that is above the one from the bin before. 1 to 70, 71 to 80, and 81 to 90. And this should, the more would be what is higher than 90. That will appear accordingly. So we know, for example, that how many A do we have? I already did that. So A would be, sometimes you fall into this, those who have 80, for example, and the rest. 1 to 90. This should be the general idea. Okay. So this is general idea of histogram. You frequency analysis, you specify the data, you create the bin first. So if you want a different bin, you need to recreate the bin. Let's go. Maybe different bin. This bin 2. Maybe this gives me some idea, but maybe I want to split this into more finer details, like by 5. So I know that anything below, there are only a few below 50. So I can start with 50 and then increase by 5. I can now use fill. So we can drag, so it will fill the series. So this is now 50. So the first one would be anything below 50. And the last bin, the more bin, will be anything above 95. So let's try with that. So we will repeat the histogram. Histogram analysis. So the input is the same, column E, the total. Bin range should be different, So in this case, it should be from I1 to I11, because you need to include label to match the data. Now I will, let's start. I will also include chart output and cumulative percentage. See what happened? create a new chart. So if there is already a sheet of that name, it will create a new sheet. So this gives you a little bit more idea, something more. Frequency analysis are the same with finer detail, but there are, because the range is a little, the bin are a little smaller. Cumulative here just give you cumulative percentage. How many percentage are in this bin and below? Add up to 82, for example. 82%. So the last one will add up to 100. The last data point will add up to 100%. You see the cumulative graph over here as well to see the whether they are steeper, mean that there are a lot of data point in that. There are a lot of data point in that bin, and so. Now, if you want everything to be in the same page, let me repeat that the last one first. I maybe want everything to be under the score histogram. So in this case, I cannot use new worksheet ply. I need to use a different output range. So in this case, the sheet already occurs. So I need to specify the upper left corner, in this case at A12. Okay. So in this case, you will see that the two histograms are in the same page for future use. Let me show you the last thing, the Pareto analysis, Pareto histogram. It's called sort histogram in this case because the bin will no longer be shown in the order of the value bin over here, but it will be sorted by the frequency. I need to be careful and put this at the right place. So in this case, the same page, but over here. This is Pareto basic. I use it. So this is the normal bin. And this is the Pareto showing in Pareto. You see the one with highest frequency will show up first. It might be useful to see. This will be a little harder to read because you need to know. You might need to remember beforehand what is the lower bound of the bin is. But they also show you this, so that will help you with that. And the cumulative percentage will also be recalculated based on which bin show up first. Okay, so that is histogram frequency analysis. So these two, the descriptive statistic, certain. So with summary statistic in particular, this gives you some idea of what are the basic statistic value of your data. So you don't need to type in one formula at a time, just use data analysis tool and perform. It will give you some general idea, general summary of what your data look like. Again, these are numbers, so you can reformat them. Like I don't want, for example, so many decimal point. I can change that. And you can even use these to merge this first. No. I can copy this total here to a PowerPoint. And put it up and then paste it out, or you paste it out. So this will be a table, which you can then format them later, right? delete a row here. I will then probably format this a little bit, like text are very small, harder to read, so I can text in some name. You don't. So this is one way you can use a table. Format this a little more. Okay. So, and you will see that the numbers are formatted accordingly. Or maybe even furthermore, maybe you don't need all the row, so you can delete some of them. Like usually mode is not as useful as like medium or median or mean. So delete that. Error, maybe ptosis is not good. Or maybe range. Sometimes you can just specify like range like this. Instead. Yeah, sometimes because space on a slide is precious, so you can manage them to. You don't want, like I mentioned before, you don't want a lot of text onto your on your PowerPoint. So try to keep this as concise as possible. First, you don't have a lot of text to fit. You can make this a little larger, so a little easier to read. It's something you can do. And these are text, so you can change. Maybe yeah, so this might be a little easier to read. Then you can specify something further. Zero band band row. Maybe something like this. Yep. So again, and then to table designs, I change the design a bit so it's a little easier to read. Thing you can work with. Okay, so this is you see I only type from summary statistic. I only type only a few things and that. So make sure you can use this Office tool to your advantage. That would be it for today. So today you see how you can use if function. I understand this can be a little complicated, so try it out yourself. Make sure to review the slide as much as possible. So the example of grading that is the same one as the homework. So make sure you can adapt that. Make sure you reference the right cell and use the right type of reference for the homework. Right now, take a look at the homework first. We'll talk about that again on Friday before we will do some exam practice. So on Friday, exam practice would be the big part. We will see whether you can log in to the exam system or not. If you cannot, you will know to get VPN in advance. You will have a few weeks, 2 weeks in particular. Okay, so that is one. If function is a big one. Type of reference is another big one. Know when to use relative when you want it to move with you, or absolute when you don't want it to move with you. See different operation you can do with Excel, which are in this case. No. Let me close this one. Let me set up some as well. One later. And the last part that we talked about is another tool, sorting. Right now, you should be able to do sorting based on multiple columns, and you should know you can sort it from smallest to largest, A to Z, or largest to smallest, Z to A, with multiple columns, multiple criteria. Filtering, that is, you can specify, basically select a condition of, and then have Excel show only row that fit that condition. Condition can be vague, like text value or number value. You can use just check the value you want to see, or use number filter. And then another bit, data analysis. So this big one would be descriptive statistics. One we talk about here is summary statistic. So this is something that is a very good starting tool for you to work with data. And lastly, we talk about histogram. So this is basically histogram is counting, but counting based on bins or range. As long as you set the bin correctly, histogram can help you see your data, see basically how many data points in your data fell into certain range.